you have an acromial end. You notice that your sternal end happens to be flat. That's your sternal end. So this is the part that goes to your sternus. The other part actually makes a joint with your shoulder. So that would be your acromial end. Now, slide this backwards. Yeah, there's your acromial end. What I want you to know is when you flip this upside down, there's a little process here, like a bump. It's called the conoid, C-O-N-O-I-D, the conoid process. It is used to tell the difference between the left and right clavicle. I'm surprised they don't even put it in here. They used to put it in. But I know for a fact that's going to be a question I'm going to give you, yeah.
So yes, if we just write down conoid instead of conoid process.
That's fine, that's fine. So, C-O-N-O-I-D. So if I ask you a question, this anatomical structure on a clavicle helps you to determine whether it's left or right. That would be the conoid process. The reason being is because whenever you have the conoid facing towards you, well, it makes an S, right? So if the conoid is facing towards you, if the S is facing the thing is facing away from you, then that's actually a right side. Actually, this one belongs on the right side. If I did it this way, notice how it comes towards me. So it's actually, this is the right side. And what I want you to know is just that little bump. It's called a conoid, C-O-N-O-I-D, conoid process. When it comes to the, when it comes to the scapula, I want you to know what do I want you to know on this? I want you to know the spine. I want you to know the acromion. The acromion is the one in the back. The one in the front would be the coracoid process. And I want you to know this flat surface. This flat surface is called the glenoid. Is it there? Yes, glenoid cavity. Now, why is the glenoid cavity important? That is because where did I do that? That is because that's where your humerus sits. The head of the humerus actually sits in there. So that's important. So we did those two. Let's see what else we got here. Here is the humerus. On the humerus, I want you to know you can see it, the greater tubercle, the lesser tubercle. I definitely want you to know that. And I also want you to know the deltoid tuberosity. Those things are very important. And the last thing is, what else is on there? I'm good with those two things on that. When it comes to the radius and the ulnar, how can you tell the difference between the radius and the ulnar? Easy. If you look at this and this, notice that this has a C shape at the top. So you know this is which bone? It's going to be the ulnar. Now this ulnar actually fits. Notice that there's a notch in the back here called the olecranon fossa. So together, this is going to form the elbow. It is known as the olecranon process, which is on page 119. You see where it says olecranon process? So that would be your, that's your ulnar. So the other one, obviously, which is more flat-headed, this guy, see how it's flat-headed? That would be your radius. The other interesting thing is that these two guys at the tip have styloid processes. There's one on both the ulnar and there's one on the radius. Which, by the way, which one is closer to your pinky, the ulnar or the radius?
The ulnar.
Yeah, the ulnar. Ulnar, radius. Okay, where do you take your radial pus? There. Okay, that takes care of that one. As far as the carpals, metacarpals, and phalanges, I don't remember. There's a mnemonic for you to know the bones of the wrist, but they come in pair. They come in sets. For example, you have if you start off at the medial aspect near your thumb, or the pollock, should I say? You have trapezium, trapezoid, capitate, hamate.
Something about new positions.
Huh?
Isn't it like the?
There's I don't remember what it was.
It's like something humans.
Yeah, but there's a mnemonic for you to remember them. Just memorize the bones of the wrist and where they are. The rest of the bones, like the metacarpals, the phalanges, they're easy to spot. But I want to point out something to you, and that is if you look at all the phalanges, 2 through 5, they all have a distal, a middle, and a proximal phalanx. They all have a distal, middle, and proximal phalanx. The thumb has a distal and a proximal. It does not have a middle phalanx at all. Same thing happens in the foot. In the foot, all the toes have a distal in the middle and proximal phalanx. But on the hallux, you only have a distal and a proximal. You don't have a middle. Pelvis. When you come to the pelvis is made up of 3 bones. It's the ilium. The ilium is the part that you can actually feel up on top in terms of your hip. That would be this part up here. You feel the ilium. Then you have the other 2 bones. You have the pubic bone, or the pubis, should I say, and then finally you have the ischium. The thing about the pubis, that forms a pubic symphysis. So if I had another hip, it would come together here, and you would see how they meld together. In here you have a socket called the acetabulum. That acetabulum is for the head of the femur. It sits in there. So that's another thing I want you to know. I want you to know the acetabulum, the pubis, the ischium, and the ilium. Know those. Notice it says there greater sciatic notch. That's this thing. There's a greater sciatic notch, and there's also a lesser sciatic notch. But let's go with the greater sciatic notch. What do you think passes through there?
Nerve, sciatic nerve.
Sciatic nerve. My so-called front of me right now. What else am I going to hit you with? And the big hole that it produces is known as the obturator foramen. That's it you need to know for that. Bingo. Done. Go on.